and he was very outgoing, and he had a lot of friends, and we're just waiting for him to come home.
Thank you. Thank you. Aaron, these are the stories that we have been hearing all day here outside the Armory. These are people who are hoping. I haven't spoken to anyone who has said, I've lost hope. Everyone says that they know deep inside that their loved one is still alive. And some of the posters, for example, say a mole on this side of the face or the exact color of hair, because they're hoping that if someone sees them, that hopefully they'll report that to authorities. And ordinary citizens have been so helpful here. I just talked to a gentleman who came down here just to look at all the pictures that are posted on the walls, because he said, maybe I would know someone. Other people have walked this line. People are waiting for hours, and ordinary citizens are coming and saying, let me stand in line for you. I'll hold your place. I'm sure you have many things to do. Perhaps you need to sit down and take a break. And they held their place in line. These are people who just did this of their own accord. I spoke earlier today with a man named Vinny Karmaj, who was looking for his father, Rocco. And I have here with me Vinny Karmaj, whose father, Rocco, was in the World Trade Center. And can you tell me where he worked and when your family last heard from him?
My father was a window washer on Tower 2, the observation deck. He worked the rig outside. He last called us at 9:15 a.m. from the 105th floor, where he said there was 200 to 300 people just on that floor waiting for them to be told to head down.
And did he say that he was heading down, or did he feel safe?
He said, don't panic, to my mom. He said, don't get upset. Tell my kids I'm going to be okay, not to worry about it. I'm in God's hands. We're all going to be okay, don't worry.
And tell me why today you're distributing these flyers.
This morning, my mom woke me up early telling me that his name was on one of the survivor lists on an internet web page, and that we can get the best information from the building behind us, the Armory.
And what happened when you went into the Armory here?
I have a case number. I looked it up to see if my dad was in any of these hospitals, and no luck yet.
What's in your head now about what you think happened?
I don't know. I know that my father, he wouldn't have just left everyone behind. He would have looked for his workers. He would have helped people out. He did it on the 90th when they bombed it in '93. He helped a pregnant woman down the stairs.
So he was in the building in '93?
Yes, he was. He's been working there since 1973.
Was he scared to go back and work in that building after the '93 bombing?
My father went back the next day. They asked him, because they needed to inspect the outside of the building, and my father knew how to operate the rig, so he brought down all the workers to inspect the building.
If you think your father might be out there somewhere, what would you want to say to him?
I want to tell him that we all miss him. His little nephew, Luke, misses him. And that we're strong. We got hope.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Aaron, I've been talking to these families for 2 days now, and all of these stories are very much like this. People are just hoping that their relatives are out there somewhere, and they're begging us to talk about them, to show their pictures, hoping that if someone's seen them, that they might be able to identify them and give some information. Aaron, I've met so many people here like Vinny Karmaj today and in other places yesterday where families were registering information. And all I can say is that these people have superhuman strength, that they are able to get it all together, come down here, fill out 10-page forms about their loved ones, and they are walking, they are traipsing the streets of Manhattan looking for anyone who has information about the person that they love. Aaron?
Elizabeth, we are trained to be dispassionate, but we are not expected to be inhuman. You did terrific work today. I can only imagine how difficult it has been. Thank you for your efforts. Thank you. CNN's Elizabeth Cohen. Absolutely the toughest conversations, the interviews we've had to do are with people who are waiting, and they continue to wait. And to spend 2 days doing that is, it's tough work, guys. I was asked by a reporter the other day how this was affecting me, and I told them that every time I closed my eyes, I kept seeing the image of that plane hitting the second tower. It is an image burned in my brain, and I suspect many of yours as well. None of the thousands of words that we've spoken are as powerful as that image. The images of this story are the pain, and oddly enough, they are also the promise that the pain will pass. Here's CNN's Beth Nissen.
A single image can have such power. This one photograph helped a stunned nation grasp what had happened after the Oklahoma City bombing. There is not yet a single iconic image to help a stunned world comprehend the human cost of Tuesday's attack. Most of the images are at remove, heavy machinery clawing at rubble, closed trucks carrying bodies to the morgue. Headlines and news reports are starting to number the dead, but most of those lost are still shrouded without a name or face.
You can say hundreds of people died, and if you see one image of one man holding one dead person, it's a different kind of information because it's more personal.
For so many, this one image personalized the human loss in New York this week. They looked at this picture and knew that there were thousands of souls like this one dark-haired man, thousands who went to work Tuesday morning and were dead just hours later. Many family members of those lost in other terrorist attacks say such graphic images are vitally important psychologically. One of those lost in the bombing of Pan Am 103 over Lockerbie, Scotland, was J.P. Flynn, the brother of Brian Flynn.
It does start to make it sink in when all of a sudden it becomes less this thing on TV and more about, oh my God, there's J.P. He is gone.
Many psychologists say vivid images of tragedies such as the Oklahoma City bombing can help people move past disbelief and toward grief, a grief that will slowly give way to acceptance, however painful it is, that allows them to go on with life, however altered it is. Yet researchers on traumatic stress caution that graphic images of death, especially those televised without warning, are not therapeutic for everyone.
They may be re-traumatized by an image. Information is a double-edged sword. How much information is too much information?
And as traumatic as the sight of a human corpse is, the sight of a dismembered one is immeasurably worse. One of the reasons there are so few pictures of individual victims at Ground Zero is that so few individual bodies are intact. Those working in the debris say the scene is a horror.
You bend down and you pull up a shoe, there's a foot inside. There might be an arm laying next to it. You know, I've never seen nothing like it. Never in my life. You know, only in the movies. And this is real life what I'm talking about.
Day 3. The full picture of all that happened is still developing and may always be in thousands of pieces. Beth Nissen, CNN, New York.
A first look at the New York story today. The investigation into all of this moves forward, and it moves forward at a fairly rapid pace, and we've learned just in the last few minutes of a development we want to get to you right now. CNN's Kelly Reed, who covers the Justice Department, joins us now. There was an incident at JFK, I guess it was late this afternoon, wasn't it, Kelly, where some people were detained. Fill in some blanks on this, because this is getting more fulsome almost by the minute.
Very disturbing, Aaron, very disturbing developments, actually, at both JFK and LaGuardia airports. Law enforcement sources tell CNN that at least 8 people have been arrested for various issues, including fake documentation, some INS violations. One was even caught carrying a fake pilot's license. 4 of the individuals, and this is where it gets interesting, 4 of the individuals were actually seen at a New York City airport on the day of the terrorist attacks. They were passengers with tickets. They went to the ticket counter. They were challenged, we are told, at the ticket counter and bolted from the airport, ran away. They have resurfaced. They came back today again to JFK. They are now in custody. As to whether or not this was another hijacking attempt, one U.S. official tells CNN, certainly this is being looked at, that a hijacking was thwarted. There is concern in our office that this may have been another attempt. So, Aaron, the bottom line here, 8 people, at least 8 people in custody, being questioned by FBI members of the Joint Terrorism Task Force. Back to you.
That is remarkable, because you have to think of the brazenness of that. If these people were involved in that, and on the day the airports reopen, try and get on an airplane and get out of Dodge, that's incredible. If that's what it turns out to be.
Absolutely.
Kelly, thanks. Nice piece of reporting. Thank you. This investigation, as we say, moves forward. The Justice Department says it now believes 18 people in total were responsible for the 4 hijackings on Tuesday. CNN's national correspondent Mike Boettcher joins us now from Atlanta with the latest on the investigation, and there is a lot happening.
Well, indeed, Aaron. As we just heard, a total of 8 arrested at New York airports. That one person carrying that fake pilot's identification. We know 4 or 5 other people who were trying to check in for flights were arrested at Kennedy. And investigators around the country are trying to make sense of what exactly is going on. Are these people part of a continued conspiracy, part of a ongoing conspiracy, part of the past conspiracy that brought down those 4 jetliners? It's a very difficult situation, as 4,000 agents are spread across the country knocking on hundreds of doors. And before it's all over, Aaron, they're going to have to knock on tens of thousands of more doors trying to get to the bottom of the conspiracy. We're told that the investigation being conducted overseas by intelligence officials is bearing some fruit as they are looking across the Atlantic in search of the identity of the group that these people perhaps belong to. So it's a very difficult investigation, but as we said, the main thing tonight are those people arrested at Kennedy Airport. At New York's LaGuardia Airport, police detained at least 2 other men for questioning. After the spate of arrests and detentions, all New York area airports were closed again. A few other airports in the U.S. have also shut down once more because of security concerns. Attorney General John Ashcroft said FBI agents are making progress in their investigation, adding that they have identified the hijackers aboard all 4 ill-fated jets.
The total number of hijackers, to our best estimate and our best knowledge, given the information at this time, on the 4 planes that crashed was at least 18, unless contradicted by evidence which we wouldn't anticipate. 2 planes had 5 hijackers and 2 other planes had 4 hijackers each.
Mohammed Atta, shown in this photograph, and Marwan al-Shari are 2 of the men on that list of 18, according to federal investigative sources. Both held United Arab Emirate passports, but it's not clear if they are actually citizens of that country. The lives the 2 men led are the objects of an intensive international investigation, stretching from Florida to Germany. In Hamburg, Germany, federal police launched an extensive search of an apartment shared by Mohammed Atta and Marwan al-Shari last February. During an additional search of another Hamburg apartment, a woman was taken away for questioning. She clutched a baby in her arms as German police tried to hide her with a sheet. During the night, a total of 8 apartments were searched in the Hamburg area. Back in the U.S. in Pompano Beach, Florida, FBI agents converged on a small rental car company called Warwick. Across the country, several people have been detained by federal investigators as they search for leads in this case, but many of those people have been arrested, and right now we're trying to get a fix for you how many people are still in detention and where the fruits of those leads are taking federal agents. Aaron?
Mike, just a couple of quick things, I think. We use the term arrested, and then we say they're being detained, and I get perfectly honest, I'm a bit confused which it is.
Okay.
Are they, in fact, have been arrested? Are they charged with anything?
Because they're not charged with anything, but because we try to give you the most updated information, that information from Kelly Arena came just as she got it, and she presented it to you. When this spot was put together just shortly before that, all we knew is they were detained. Now they're using the word arrested for fake documentation, I am told, and of course we have that one pilot or the person with the fake pilot ID, Aaron.
And over the last several days, there have been a number of people who have been detained, held as material witnesses, and the like. In some cases, these were immigration violations. I think they were being held on